Okay, so good morning. Welcome to HypnoBiz Australia, and welcome to my presentation about hypnotic breast enlargement. It's something that a lot of people will wonder, is this something that's really true? Let me tell the story about hypnotic breast enlargement. First, I'm going to go over what the things that we are going to cover this morning. First, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to give you something where you can get some free advice. Why I created hypnotic breast enlargement, the research about it. So there's been done quite some research in the 70s. I'm going to also explain what my approach was, what I used to do the tests and the sessions that I already did, and how you can become an HBE practitioner. So, who am I? I'm Rob, I'm from Belgium. I have a background in entertainment. So years ago I was performing as a clown, as a stilt walker, as a fire spitter, as a juggler, balloon modeler, and whatever my client needed. So I had a lot of people working for me, entertainers who I sent out to all different parties, events all around Belgium and the Netherlands. But I was getting tired of working with children because most of the time we were working with children. So I wanted something new, and actually I learned hypnosis to do stage hypnosis because I was looking for something that I could perform more for adults. So I can't sing, so there were only two options left: stripper or hypnotist. And I choose for hypnotist because the career is longer. So yeah, stripper, at some time you really have to stop. So I choose to become a hypnotist. So I did some training to learn hypnosis. Most of the stuff I did was online, reading books. And all of a sudden I got in contact with somebody who told me, he said, I bought these DVDs from a guy called Jeffrey Stevens. And I asked him, is it street hypnosis, is it stage hypnosis? He said, no, it's clinical hypnosis, it's actually exchange work. And I said, I don't want to be a therapist, because in my mind, being a therapist was this very long sessions, having people explaining all their life to you, and that was not what I was looking for. So, and he said, no, take a look at these DVDs, because that's really no-nonsense hypnosis. It's something especially designed for you. So I said, okay, let's take a look. I watched these DVDs. I said, oh, maybe I can do some therapy myself, because at that time, and this is an advice that I give to everybody, at that time I was already convinced that you can't become a good hypnotist without hypnotizing people. Yeah? And in Belgium, stage hypnosis and straight hypnosis is not that open, because there is a law that actually we can't do it, but we're Belgians, we do it anyway. That's the way the things are going in Belgium. I just read on, we are in lockdown in Belgium, and they're organizing lockdown parties now. So yeah, just come on, all the pubs, all the restaurants are closed, so let's do it private. Come all together and party. Yeah, so that's Belgium. So there's also the language problem. So there's no corporate, not a lot of work in corporate hypnosis in Belgium, because of the fact that most of the companies want you to do a show in French and Dutch. And my French is okay, I can speak French, but I can't hypnotize in French. I can't do a show in French. So and when you do it in English, the French-speaking part of Belgium is not going to understand you. So, so I decided to, and my plan was to do like 2 or 3 sessions a week. So I created this little website. I started doing hypnosis in my office where I was doing my entertainment. So at that time it was not that professional. And like 3 months later, I had a full-time therapy business. So nowadays I'm working with 7 therapists in Belgium. They are working now, so that's one of the reasons I can travel, of course. We are based in 3 different cities. It's now 10 years later, and I'm traveling to teach. So that's the Hypnosis Center of Belgium I'm talking about. Then of course we have the European Hypnosis Academy. That's where I teach and where I host people from all over the world in Belgium. So I'm a trainer, I'm a speaker. I wrote a book, Mentalism for Hypnotherapists. That's all about magic tricks and mentalism. I have a few copies with me, and I create some mentalist tricks as well. I don't have a booth here, but if you want to see one of my tricks, just come to me and I will do a demonstration. So, 2 weekly, I will give some hypno advice. It's always a short video, like 2-3 minutes, where I share something. If you want to receive that video, just sign up for our newsletter. You will get this presentation for free as well, so you don't have to take pictures from all the slides, you just get them. And for HypnoBiz New York, I wrote a book about working with staff. So if you're ever interested in expanding your business and working with other hypnotherapists, I wrote all my advice and all the things that the troubles that I had also within my entertainment business, working with other people, but especially for working with hypnotherapists. I wrote this ebook and you will get that also for free. So that's my lovely wife over there, Daniela. She will get her all the email addresses. If you have a business card, just give it to her and I will send you all the information. And you will get hypno advice every 2 weeks. You can also sign up for the European Hypnosis Academy Facebook page if you like that page, or the YouTube channel, and you will see all the past hypno advices as well. So now let's talk about boobs. 9 o'clock in the morning talking about breasts. That's the first time I had to do that. So why hypnotic breast enlargement? It's actually started with a kind of a joke, or my students thought that I was telling a joke. In my trainings, because I used to be an entertainer, I'm making jokes all the time. For me, giving a training is more like an act. I do a lot of demonstrations in my training. I tell a lot of jokes. I do magic tricks during my trainings. And when I do my 7-day training, it's for beginners. So people start on a Monday, they don't know nothing about hypnosis. So one of the questions during that week is always, what are the things that you can do with hypnotherapy? What are the issues that you can solve? What are the problems that people can get rid of? And then I start with my list. And also the obvious things are on it, like stop smoking, weight loss, anxiety, phobias, and so on, stress. And I always end it with breast enlargement. And then they start laughing because they thought it was not a joke. And actually it's not a joke, because it's one of the things that's been researched in the 70s. There are 5 known papers published. And every time when I told my students that it was not a joke, they asked me the question, have you ever done it? The answer was no, because I never had the question from a client, because I never promoted it. And then the next question was, is there a protocol for it? And I promised my students that the moment when I had some time, that I would do some tests, because I was really curious myself, because you know all these stories, you read those things. I know, at that time, I know Felix Ekomenakis from London. He was been in the newspaper for his hypnotic breast enlargement. But I'm always the curious guy. I always want to try those things myself. Yeah? So, like 2 years ago, I decided to do less sessions myself and to be more busy with creating new stuff. So, actually, that was the first thing on my list. So, I published this Facebook post that I was looking for women who wants to have bigger breasts. One of the things that I did was doing it in all different age categories, because I remember a lecture also on a convention that Felix did about hypnotic breast enlargement, and he said that it was not possible after the age of 40. And I was thinking, why? So I had women in all different categories. So for everybody who is older than 40, my best success was with somebody who was older than 40. So don't worry, don't worry. It's still possible. I had different findings in my research. So I made a promise, and then I started doing the tests. And then I had good results. So all the stories were true, and it was actually really easy to do. It was not I didn't have to change much on the protocol that I started with. So I had something in my mind. We started with that approach. I made a few adjustments and the results were really good. But first, let's talk a bit about the scientific research that was done in the 70s. You can find quotes from those researchers online, but I think there are 3 of them that you can find the publication, but then you have to pay for it. But luckily, I have a friend that had access. He has a sign up for all those things. So these are the 5 researchers that have been done in the 70s. So one at the University of California. So you can see it's all like the 70s, 71, 74, 77, and 79. We're gonna go into 3 of them a bit more in depth. So the only thing that we can find about this is just a quote out of it and nothing more. So I'm not going to go over this. This one is quite interesting because they had a control group, and it's always difficult to have a control group with hypnosis. But the control group here was when I was reading it, I was like, okay, yeah, I could have told you that, but it's a good idea to have a control group as this. So they had a control group, and the control group was only hypnotized. They didn't give them any suggestions about breast enlargement. So just to be sure that it was not a hypnosis that was growing the breast, that it was a suggestion. So, but yeah, I think every hypnotist in the room would have known that. All subjects in the experimental group experienced an increase in breast measurement. So everybody had some growth in this research. And the average increase was 1.85 inch or 4.7 centimeters. Individual increases between 2.54 centimeters. Do you speak in inches or centimeters here? Centimeters. That's easy for me. That's same. To 3.54, so 9 centimeters, quite a lot. And there was a main increase of 5.36. This is a result from phase 2. I will later explain what they did in phase 2. So, the first thing in phase 1 was, of course, for those guys, proving that you need suggestions, of course, that it's not a hypnosis doing the breast enlargements, you need suggestions. So, hypnosis per se had no direct effect, what of course is logical. In phase 2, they also noted that there are girls or ladies who were on birth control pills, but the effects were the same. So it was not something that would disturb the growth or that would help the growth. So, and this is also something that I found really interesting. I was already convinced that for those things, the depth of hypnosis is not that important. Sometimes it's more important that somebody believes in it and somebody is good in visualization. It's sometimes better, but depth of hypnosis is not that important. And also in this research, there were some people who were not able to achieve deep hypnosis, and they showed greater increase. So that's something. Of course, when there are things in the process and that you have to clear up and you have to do some maybe forgiveness work or whatever, then you might need some deeper hypnosis. But actually, for the normal protocol, also in my findings is that you don't need that deep hypnosis. So this study is actually it's done a few years later, but the only thing that changed here is that they did a follow-up. The other studies, they never did a follow-up, so they did most of the time it was a program that was run over like 12 weeks, but there was no follow-up. And these guys, they did a follow-up. So they actually repeated the same study. Most of the approaches were the same, and they had quite similar results. And something that is also that I read from other people who do hypnotic breast enlargement, and something that I found in my research as well is, and that's always something that women like, they also found women's waist size decreased by 1.4 inch. So it's most of the time the breast gets bigger and the waist gets smaller. That's a win-win. That's good. So everybody happy. So, and the follow-up study showed that like 80% of the growth stayed, even when the women stopped listening to the recordings or stopped doing the visualizing, or so they just stopped doing the protocol. And that's something that not with everybody, but with most of the women that I work with, is also the case. So the growth is going a bit back when they stop listening to the recordings, or when the session program is stopped, but like 80% of the growth will stay. So the thing is, well, with this technique, it's actually in the study they call it age regression, but actually it was not really age regression. It's more like they gave suggestions about going back to the teenage years where the breast starts growing. It's not actually like, as we know, like regression to falls or anything. It's not reliving something. It's more like giving suggestions about the past. So there were some different approaches. An average 1.44 inch increase in breast size for 22 volunteers. Every woman had an increase in their breast circumference. After 12 weeks, 28% had reached the goal already, and 85 who could tell a significant enlargement in their breast, and most of them had to go to the shop to buy some new bras. So that's the best way that they can see that there is growth. One of the things that I had in my research was that most of the time the partner or the boyfriend was realizing there was growth before the woman. I don't know why, because they're more focused on it maybe, I don't know. But that was something that, yeah, because I specifically, that's the same what I do with weight loss. I don't want them to measure every day. So because then you're too much. It's the same with weight loss. When you go on the scale every day, sometimes you get disappointed. So I always tell my clients, put the scale away and do it. If you want to do it once a week. And with the breast enlargement, they have to measure their breast once a week. But sometimes the boyfriend was already there. Measure, because I'm quite sure they grow. So, yeah. But that's a very good convincer, of course. Yeah. Can you imagine? Because most of the clients, they still are in doubt, because yeah, I go to a hypnotist, my breast will grow, and they're still thinking, is this really going to work? And if then somebody else, the boyfriend or the partner, gives a compliment and says, I think your breasts are growing, or I think they feel different or whatever, and then they measure and they get a convincer, and that's what we need in programs like this. Because when you do a stop smoking session, it's quite easy. They go outside your room, they are a non-smoker. But with weight loss or breast growth or whatever, the result is not there immediately, of course. That would be easy, but that's not the case. So my approach, what I did was actually I worked with 7 different volunteers in different age categories, as I already said. And all apart from one had growth. Now the only one that didn't have, she had a bit of growth in the beginning, but it was not significantly. That's an easy word, difficult word for me. So yeah, so no, there was not much growth, but she's one of my students, and in a later training, when it was another trainer with the Simpson protocol, and when she did the session with her, there were a lot of other things coming to the surface. So I think, and we are quite sure that blocked also the breast growth. So I promised her that the moment I have some time that I'm will be in Belgium a bit longer, that we will restart the program with her. So that was the only one that didn't have any good breast growth. And for me, the result was 1 to 1.5 cup size. And actually, there was one from I think she was 43 at that time. She had a 1.5 cup size growth. Yeah. The only problem we had with her, she had some problems in her uterus. What's the name again? The little cystis in. Yeah, that was the one. even in Flemish, I have problems with that. So endometriosis, or how do you? So the pain came back in the moment the breast growth started. The pain came back in that area. So I changed something in the protocol, and now we don't have that problem anymore, because I was maybe a bit direct to the subconscious mind and asking to fire up all the hormones and things like that. So now I specifically tell, and in my intake, that's something I will explain in the training as well. I specifically ask if they have problems in that area, or hormone problems in any case. So it's a 3-session program. The first session is first session where they get also, where the intake is a bit longer, of course. I'm not somebody who does really long intakes. Actually, I don't do a pre-talk anymore, so that's another advice. It's also on my Hypno Advice video, so if you go there, you will see that I do a talk about not doing pre-talk anymore, because everybody gets a video now. So there is a link also on YouTube. I recorded it in English as well, because when I was speaking at conventions, everybody asked me for my pre-talk video. And I said, yeah, I can send it to you, but it's in Dutch. So, so I recorded it in English. Why am I not doing pre-talk anymore? Because first, there was a period that I did like 5 sessions a day, or 5-6 sessions a day, 5 days a week. And then you really get tired of explaining that they are not going to be asleep and that they have to follow up the instructions. And I was just hearing myself repeating that again and again and again. So, and the other thing is, people arriving at your therapy room, most of them are nervous, because for most of them it's the first time that they're seeing a hypnotherapist. It's the first time that they're going to be hypnotized. So they are nervous. Sometimes they were in a traffic jam, or sometimes they had problems finding your office. So they are like stressed out. And then you're going to explain all those things about hypnosis, and that they don't have to, that they're not going to sleep, and that they have to listen to your voice, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So all the information is going in and going out immediately. So afterwards they still sometimes say, yeah, I could hear everything you said. Are you sure I was hypnotized? Yeah, of course. So now I send them we have an automatic appointment system. The moment they make an appointment, they get a video of me, of one of my therapists, explaining all they need to know. And then they have the chance to rewatch it. They have the chance to let that information sink. So good advice that I give you: record one good video. You can see my video. You can get some pointers out of it. Make one good video, send it to them. Your clients will be better prepared for the session. You don't have to repeat yourself every day, because after a while you forget to say things, because you're in a automatic mode. So they also get with the first session they got an audio recording. So I have to drink. No. I will always listen to the boss. So with the first session, they get an audio recording, and they have to listen to it every day. Yeah, because with programs like this, also with virtual gastric band, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Because there is no immediate result, you need something to reassure you. You need something to give. most of them, they actually don't need the recordings, but a lot of them need the recordings. So it's always a good thing that they have something to listen to, that they have something to do. Don't make the recordings too long. When I do a recording, it's like 15 minutes. That's long enough because people need the time out to listen to those recordings. So the second session is like 3 weeks later. And then I give them another recording. Because I know how, especially after like 3 weeks listening to the same recording, it gets boring. And you know the recording by heart at that time, and then So I decided to make a second recording with some other suggestions in it. I'm a direct hypnotist. I use direct hypnosis all the time. So I took my experience from the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, and I used really direct hypnosis, speaking direct to the subconscious mind in this protocol. There is some visualization in it, and of course some future pacing. And that's also something that's really important for a protocol like this. And one of the things that I'm always stressed in my trainings is, and that's one of the reasons also for other issues, one of the reasons that a lot of sessions have a result but not a lasting result is the fact that you don't convince the subconscious mind enough about the advantages that your client will have. So a lot of therapists are doing a very good session, and then like 3 weeks later the client gives feedback and says, yeah, I had some changes the first week, and then the changes were gone. And the reason is because we don't convince the subconscious mind enough. So I always stress out in every type of session, but especially in sessions where you have to make a real change, also for smokers, weight loss, or for anxieties, phobias, whatever, ask enough advantages to your client. And sometimes there is a trick, sometimes clients don't know what the advantages will be. Then just ask, what are the negatives that you're having with this problem? What are the negatives of being a non-smoker? And also with breast enlargement, you would be surprised what are the things that women tell me. It's just all, sometimes it's easier to dress, it's more self-confidence, more confidence in their sex life, things like that. So it's really necessary to have all that information. So and that are the things that you can use in future pacing. Okay, so we sell these sessions at €497. I did some calculation to make it easy for you. It's 860 Australian dollars. So that's what we sell the sessions. Okay, before I explain you what the program is that we created, because there is was some thinking before I created the training, but also the program. It's not just a training, but it's actually more like a partnership. So, but before I want to explain that, are there some questions about the research, the protocol, whatever? Yeah.
Those audio recordings, are they the same first session, second session, third one, or is it something recorded in the session specifically for that person?
Okay, so the question is the recording? I was already busy repeating the question. She was like, well, most of the time I forget it. So no, I'm really happy I did it. No. What was the question again? No. The question was, are these recordings general recordings, or did I record them during the session? They're general. So it's something that you can do as well. I do it with virtual gastric band as well. We have different programs. We have a bronze, a silver, and a gold. And starting from silver, they get a personal recording, but only like after the third session, because then I know what changes I have to make in the recording for that particular client. So for the first recording, a general one is really good. And for the research, I never made it personal. I always use the general one. But of course, you can decide to offer a more expensive program with a personal recording. Why not? Yeah. That's, yeah. Another question? Yeah.
Have you done it the other way? Have you done breast reduction?
I will start doing that research in April, when I get a chance to fly back to Belgium. If I have to stay here, I do the research here. So, oh yeah, sorry. So the question was, have you done it the other way? That's a reduction. So that's a question I got a lot, also from students, or when I'm talking about this protocol. It's brand new. This protocol is brand new. But when in the past, when I was talking about the creation of this protocol, the question was there a lot. Can you do reduction as well? I didn't find any research about reduction. I know there are some hypnotherapists out there who are selling recordings for reduction, but I don't get much. I posted in a few groups, but I don't get much feedback about results. So I'm really going to do the test myself. So I already have a list of volunteers in Belgium, and I even think that market is bigger. I think that's a bigger market than the enlargement. So because of the questions that I got, in every training there are some women that can you do the reduction as well. So, but I will keep you posted about that those results. Yeah.
Well, have you worked with any athletes that do bodybuilding and that kind of thing and have quite low body fat?
Okay, so the question is, did I work with athletes who do a lot of workout and have low body fat? I'm just thinking about the volunteers that I had and the clients that I had. Nobody was actually really athletic. There were some women who were like, the one that was with the 43-year-old lady. She had very low body fat. She was not an athlete, but she just had she had 1.5 cup size growth. So yeah. But I didn't work with people who really are athletes and train every day. That not. Yeah.
You alluded to a few month follow-up. Are there anybody or your own experience for years follow-up?
The follow-up is there a longer follow-up than a few months. In my experience, I started my research about 2 years ago, and I recently saw one of the ladies, and she still has the 80% growth. So, and that's now 2 years later. So yeah, and the others, I was in contact with 3 of them like half a year ago when I started writing the manual, and they still had to grow. So, but of course I did my research started 2 years ago. So yeah.
A couple of questions. First question is, how long are your sessions, the breastfeeding sessions? And then the other question is, have any of the participants in the research breastfed, and then has that affected the changes?
Yeah. So the first question was, how long are my sessions? My sessions are short. My sessions are really short, mostly around 8 to 10 minutes. That's the side from induction to exduction. Yeah. It's always, but when I have a smoker or whatever, I have really short sessions. That's also my way of thinking. I do really powerful sessions, but they are short. And also for this, I think the first session will last, in my style, 12 to 30 minutes. And the second session is even shorter. So I don't like long sessions, because in long sessions you have a lot of chances to say the wrong things. So, and forget about compounding. You don't need to compound everything to the subconscious mind. As at the moment you say something to the subconscious mind and it's clear, the subconscious mind will get it. So when I used to work as a stage hypnotist, I don't have time to give a suggestion like 10 times. Why? It works anyway. So, yeah.
Just before you answer the second question about breastfeeding, is that because you do mostly direct hypnosis?
Yeah. So the question is, are my sessions short because I do mostly direct hypnosis? Yes and no, but because when I do for the persons here who know virtual gastric vent, when I do a virtual gastric vent session, my first session is also like 12-30 minutes. My inductions are short. My inductions last like 4 or 5 seconds, and maybe something longer. When I do a longer induction, but a long induction for me is like 20 seconds. So I don't do long inductions. No, and no. And to be honest, I'm a fast speaker when I do hypnosis. I speak quite fast. I will do a demonstration in my second lecture after this hour in symbology. That will last a bit longer because it's another type of work, but you will see that my induction is short. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The second session was about breastfeeding. I didn't have anybody in the 7 group or from clients. I don't know, but there was nobody who did breastfeeding. But in the research, there was one of the researches was a topic about breastfeeding, and it didn't affect the results. So that so in the 70s, that was they investigated. Yeah.
I noticed that you said that it was still effective for someone over 40. But what if someone's gone through menopause, which that can be 40s, 50s? So is it still effective after someone's been through menopause?
The question is it still effective after menopause? I didn't have anybody who was already in menopause, so I can't answer that question. And so most of the clients I had, or the girls in the volunteer, were before menopause. I never had a question of I don't know, but most of them are the highest age that I had was like 48, I think, from clients.
Yeah, I was just wondering because if your other suggestions to the hormones, like is it so it's that, so potentially it may not be that effective.
But I'm quite sure you can adapt it. The moment you know that they're in menopause, you can adapt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can make some changes in the protocol and adapt it. Yeah. 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 Other question? Yeah.
And just to clarify, the prices you put up before were for training?
Pardon?
The prices that you put
No, that was the price for the client.
Right.
But that's also the price for the training. I will explain that later, but no, that's the price for the client. So it's a program, it's for 3 sessions and the 2 recordings. Yeah, that's the price for the client. Okay, so one thing about breast enlargement is that it depends, of course, in the country that you're living on, but in Belgium, it's not on my general website because I know myself. I always tell my students that if you have told like 50% of the things that I'm telling and stories that I'm telling in trainings now, if you have told those stories to me like 10, 15 years ago, I would say, yeah, right. Now I'm telling those stories and I'm talking about hypnotizing and results, and I'm quite a skeptical guy. So when you put things like breast enlargements on your general website, there might be some people looking for weight loss or stop smoking, and then they say breast enlargement and they say, yeah, right, and they go to somebody else because they don't believe you anymore. So that's one of the reasons that I decided to create a different website for it. And then I was thinking about the moment when I was writing the manual for the training, I decided to create more like an affiliate program to be sure to promote this worldwide and to gather up as a team to promote it, because that will be much easier. So what are we actually going to do is the moment you do the training, you'll become an official HBE practitioner. So the training will be online. It's a short training. It's not like I can talk 2 days about breasts, but I'm not going to do that because I can explain it to you in like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, there's the manual, there's everything there. So there will be online promotion for everybody who's an affiliate in the program. Marketing support, and you have the power of a team. So the online training, there are 2 options for it. You can do it live on Zoom. The first one is the 18th of April at 10 o'clock in the morning, but of course that's Belgian time. But you can also watch the replay. And there is an option that the moment you sign up, you can download the manual. The manual at the moment is available in Dutch and in English. There will be also a manual in Spanish, and in the future there will be manuals in different languages. So then you have the scripts and everything already in a language. Maybe if somebody else here is interested in working in another language. So you can watch the replay, but of course you can post your questions up front. If you read the manual, you have questions, you can send them to me and I will answer them in the training. And of course, later you can ask questions as well. So there is a website. There will be online promotion. Of course, we will do more promotion in the countries where we have actual practitioners. So at the moment, I launched this like 2 weeks ago. We have people signing up from Belgium already, from the Netherlands, from Mexico, and now I hope to have some here in Australia as well, and from other countries. So you all will be listed on the platform. There will be a search engine so people can look for practitioners in their area. There will be marketing support. So there is this, this is already designed, certified practitioner logo. There will be templates of posters, leaflets, social media posts. Everything will be there, banners, flyers, brochures, explainer videos in English, web pages, so all the things that you can download, adapt with your details, and you can use. Everything will be there. Also the logo you can use. There will be the power of a team. We will have a practitioner Facebook group, a secret Facebook group where we can share our feedback, where we can maybe in the future somebody will work with somebody in menopause. They can post their feedback. We can help each other, and we can adapt the protocol where needed. We can, I can give advice. Other people can share their experiences. The thing is, the moment we are in a group, we are with more people from all around the world. You get more credibility. Then people will see, well, it's not just somebody saying I can do breast enlargement. It's a group of international experts doing this thing, and then your credibility will grow. So, what is the investment? I know that new protocols, investing in new protocols is most of the time quite expensive, and this is something really new. So I didn't want to make it that big, the investment. So it's actually your first client. So the price of one client. So the thing is, there is the moment you get in the group, it's really important that you keep the price the same. Only when you're living in a country and you can prove to me that that price is way too much for that market. So let's say somebody from, I don't know what country, maybe Mexico or something. The practitioner there is living in Mexico City. That's something else. But there are some countries that you can't ask that price. Then there will be, after investigation through us, there might be the possibility to lower the price, but only for local sessions. If you do an online session, the price should be 497 euros or whatever that is in your currency. So like in US dollar, it would be 547, in pounds 427, and that's so that will be the price of the program. So actually your first client is paying back the total investment of your training and becoming part of the HBE group. Thank you. Then there will be an annual fee, and that's only 175 euros or whatever it is in your currency. That's just to stay part of the group, to access the online training and the updates if you want to rewatch it, but there will be updates to promote yourself as an official HBE practitioner, permission to use the seal, the logo, you stay listed as an official practitioner on the website, the access to the marketing materials, because also every year there will be new, it will be updated, modernized, and also the access to the practitioner Facebook group. So the first year you don't have to pay this annual fee because that's included in the start investment, of course. So it's after a year that you can. So you get a fully digital program. It's tested. It's science-based. There will be permanent support by us. You will have great and lasting results, and it's a great niche market. And of course, the moment I do the research about the reduction, you will get all that information as well. It's not going to be a different program that you have to pay extra for it. When you are in this, you will get all the information about reduction as well. So that's your first client pays your investment back, but because we are at the convention, I give you a better price. So if you sign up this weekend here at HypnoBiz Australia, you will not have to pay the $860, I think it was Australian dollar, but I will give it to you for 775 Australian dollar, or whatever it is in US dollars, or wherever you are from. It's an online thing. So if you're interested in this, if you have more questions, come and see me during this weekend, and I can give it to you for this price. Okay, we have maybe just some other things. I have some live trainings in Australia while I'm here. I have a training here on Monday. There are still some places available. I will do my fast and powerful induction training. I will teach you 22 different inductions on one day. So they're all fast inductions, so I can do 22. So normally I succeed in doing 22 or like 20. But even if we are not able to do the 22, you will get access to the online training. So you can re-watch every induction, you can see me demonstrate it, you see the explanation. So because I know learning 22 induction on one day, you can't remember them all. So I give you access to the online training also. If you're not able to come to that training on Monday, you can also buy the online training. And in your in the gift bag, there is my price list, and there's also a convention price, so you can have a look at that. And whenever you have a question about the other things on the price list, just come and see me. I teach the Jeffrey Stevens protocol also in Australia. The 21st and the 22nd of March, I will teach in Newcastle. And 4th and 5th of April, I will teach in Melbourne. That's a 2-day training. That's a protocol that I built my business in Belgium on. That's a protocol that is giving you the ability to work without scripts, to do short and powerful sessions. Most of the time you will solve the problem in one session. Sometimes you need two, but like 80% of the time we do one session. Short, powerful protocol that you will learn hands-on with a lot of practice. And a lot of people, maybe you know Joanne Eby, she was in that training in New York. She flew home and she started using the protocol, so you can ask her about the training. It's a really strong protocol. The 28th and the 29th of March, I will do my Out of the Blue training also in Newcastle. And that's actually, it's street hypnosis, but not street hypnosis for entertainers. So I will teach you everything that you need to do good demonstrations, so that you can go out there, you can do a lecture and do a demonstration. Because you can talk 2 hours about hypnosis, but a 5-minute demonstration is so much stronger than talking 2 hours about hypnosis. So after that training, you will have the confidence to hypnotize everybody, anywhere, under all circumstances, and show things. I will I will teach you how you can do a demonstration without failure. So that's, whoa, fire alarm. That's a get out alarm. Get out. The other presenter is waiting, and that's a strange guy.
That's from Belgium.
Yeah, it's from Belgium. Don't mess with those guys. So that's so if you have any questions about the trainings I'm doing, then just come and see me and I will explain it to you. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, find me somewhere in the room. Thank you.